King Charles tactfully refuses to answer tricky question during unexpected game. King Charles and Queen Camilla played a game of giant snakes and ladders at Windsor Castle with the German president and his wife during their state visit to the UK. King Charles and Queen Camilla joined in a game of snakes and ladders with their guests on the second day of the German state visit. President Frank-Walter Steinmeier and the First Lady Elke Budenbender met with groups of staff and volunteers working in sectors close to their hearts, including food waste, the environment, young people, health, employee volunteering and heritage. After spending the night at Windsor Castle, following a glittering state banquet last night, the Germans joined the King and Queen for a final outing after toasting the relationship between our two countries. They had already privately laid a wreath at the tomb of Elizabeth II in St. George Chapel, in what has become a state visit custom, before walking over to the inner hall of the castle. There they were greeted with a pair of guide dog puppies and a real working sleigh, designed by Prince Albert for Queen Victoria and used for their family outings. Representatives from one of the charities, Citizen Hub, asked both heads of state and their spouses to play a large game of snakes and ladders, rolling a foam dice and answering a question depending on which square they landed on. The Queen, asked about when she had helped someone, said she hoped she had helped victims of domestic violence through her campaign work, adding, "I hope I have several times." The King politely declined to answer a question about when he had faced a challenge and how he would have done it differently, pointing to members of the press listening in. All four drew around their hands to create paper handprints, representing lending a hand by volunteering. They received gifts including copies of the Gruffala, illustrated by German Axel Scheffler, and each made a fuss of Jenny and Arnie, puppies who are in training to be guide dogs. The charities covered sectors close to the hearts of the King, Queen, President and First Lady, including food waste, the environment, young people, health, employee volunteering and heritage. Matt Hyde, co-founder of the Big Help Out, delivered a speech about the importance of volunteering, with the King and President catching one another's eye and smiling in agreement. The Queen pointed out various charity stalls to Ms. Budenbender, telling her they're brilliant as they made their way around a crowded room. The King and President walked together, with their wives on the opposite side of the room. At one point, the King and Queen came face to face with one another unexpectedly, surrounded by dozens of people, and burst out laughing at the indoor chaos. Showing off the incredible Victorian sleigh, which the then Queen wrote about in Hair Diaries in 1845, Ms. Budenbender exclaimed "wow" when she saw it, touching the vivid red upholstery as they were told about its history and how it worked. It has been completely restored but has not been used since Victoria was alive. It was installed in the inner hall of Windsor Castle for the state visit viewing, keeping it out of the rain. The party was shown a copy of a drawing of Victoria, Albert and some of their children riding in the sleigh in a snowy Brighton. Prince Albert is known to have driven it himself across the South Downs, and it has been used in Sandringham and Windsor. It was restored in 1989 by the Royal Mews, put on public display for 20 years before being moved to the Windsor Coach House into storage. It is not known to have been used by a member of the royal family since Victoria, but was seen by the late Elizabeth II when it was on display. It is one of 5 sleighs in the collection. All 4 posed with the reproduced picture of Albert driving his family in the sleigh, and talked warmly, pointing out various parts of the real thing in front of them and posing for a photograph. The German president thanked the King lavishly as they said farewell, even praising the good breakfast at Windsor Castle amid the long list of things he would never forget. As they posed side by side for a final photograph, the King and President swapped compliments for the 24 hours they had spent together. "You were so generous, inviting us, the staying of the night," said Mr. Steinmeier. "We had a good breakfast and a wonderful banquet yesterday." His wife added, "It was really so wonderful, unbelievable, we will never forget it," said the President. As the Queen and President's wife said their own goodbyes and kissed each other, Ms. Budenbender said, "It was so wonderful, all the best." Camilla replied, "Hopefully see you again, before too long, really lovely to see you again." The Queen also told the President, "I hope we'll meet again, As he began to walk towards his limousine, the president turned and said to his hosts and said, "Happy Christmas."